It's a blustery, cool morning in central Wisconsin at Elkhart Lakes Road America. About time for race 2 of the weekend for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside, and in the background you can get a glimpse of our DJ Clark positioning himself down there on the grid, getting ready to go for the second leg of the doubleheader for these touring cars. 3 classes in total, all mixed together, ready for yet another barn burner at America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Always fun coming up here to Elkhart Lake, Calvin, and certainly for these touring car drivers. This is a place that can put on some really exciting racing with lower displacement engines. That means the slipstream is in effect, and you've got a nice mix of front and rear-wheel drive powertrains, different manufacturers. It's a lot for a race fan to like.
It really is, and with these cars you mentioned, they go side by side, very wide racetrack, got long straightaways, big deep brake zones, and yesterday we saw some fantastic racing and some big wins for Celso Neto to really beat Chris Walsh under total equal footing. We know he got the win at VIR. That was under unusual circumstances with Chris having to start from the back of the pack, having missed the time to jump in the race car. But yesterday, that Acura had the pace on the BMW. Let's see if he can repeat and sweep the weekend. And in TC, Christian Pericarpi, he is ready to rock and roll. He has been so excited about the pace of that Mini, and he delivered yesterday.
Let's hear more from the stories down on the grid with DJ Clark.
Well, Ryan and Calvin, you hit the nail on the head. Christian Pericarpi firmly has the wind at his back. He has got massive momentum coming into race number 2 here at Road America. So much so that I had a conversation with Christian last night, and after finishing 3rd overall ahead of some of the other TCX drivers, he said, let's see if we can pick off a few more. He feels that good about this Mini JCW this weekend.
Yeah, it was a great performance. He had the second fastest time in qualifying overall, just a fraction off of the overall pole for the first race of the weekend yesterday. A strong win for Christian in the TC class in race number 1, and he'll have a good starting position here for race 2. It was a good weekend. It's been a good weekend thus far for Mini as a whole, not just in the TC class, but a 1-2 in TCA yesterday with PJ Gronke getting a long-awaited win here at Road America. He loves coming to this place, and remarkably, I don't believe he'd won here before.
That's crazy to think about the amount of times we've seen him compete here. So it's a special racetrack. It's a bucket list for the drivers to win here, but for the fans, you're going to see a show here this morning.
Sally McNulty getting ready to go in her Borla Liquid Moly Jeg-sponsored Hyundai from the Rika Autosport team. This is the head honcho there at Rika Autosport, Jeff Rika, the eponymous name on the door, and he's had himself an interesting season, extending his points lead yesterday. Bit of news that we don't expect his teammate Ruben Iglesias to take part in the race here today. Those two were 1-2 in points. Ruben caught up in an accident not of his making yesterday, and this will cost him dearly from a championship perspective. And then the man of the hour yesterday, Celso Neto, thrilled to pick up that win. Like you said, on even footing with Chris Walsh. First time we've seen him come out on top in a true duel on equal footing. And he's got himself a really fast Acura here this weekend for the Skip Barber School team.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, Walsh still has a pretty much unsurmountable lead here in the championship, about 70 points coming into this race this morning, and we've only got 4 rounds to go when we see the checkered flag here. So 100 points still on the table when we leave Road America, but nonetheless, I think for Celso and that whole group, just looking at increasing the development, the Acura, and is now truly on the pace with the BMWs.
So I'll look at Chris Walsh a few moments ago. You can see on the side of the car, wear blue and run to remember, to initiatives to help our veterans, and that's a special topic for Chris Walsh, who is an active member of the Air Force. He's set to get a promotion to Lieutenant Colonel, so congratulations to you, Chris, and had a chance to meet his parents, Phoebe and Bob, here this weekend, both of whom served as well. They could not be more proud of their son, not just for his racing endeavors, and it's been a great season for him in the race car, but for all that he does in uniform as well. And a big thanks to all servicemen and women for what you do for us here in the United States. That's Cooper Broll, Pied Parker, the sponsor on that machine. He had a podium finish yesterday, caught up in a bit of turmoil with Aaron Kaplan. Unfortunately, that car also eliminated, and Aaron won't be taking part in the race here today, and that's heartbreaking for Aaron, who's a relative local from the Chicago area with a long history of coming up to Road America.
Yeah, they're having a great battle. It just went a little bit wrong down in Canada corner yesterday, and then after the moment, suddenly Kaplan got hit. So that's disappointing, but we should still see a great race here. Lots to look forward to. Pretty blustery day. The rain has been around us all weekend long, but it looks like it should stay dry for this 40-minute sprint race.
It looks like it, but we've been told that before, and the downpour came regardless, so we'll keep an eye on the skies and see what comes our way. The touring cars roar to life and start to roll out onto the racetrack. As we mentioned, 3 classes, TCX, the top class, TC, the middle class. Those 2 will be combined next year into a single touring car class. TCA, the 3rd class. This is the final year of TCA. We learned earlier this weekend, but always putting on a fun show. Those smaller cars, 2 minis and a Honda here this weekend, with Bruce Marine and Alex Garcia joining PJ Gronke in the car that won yesterday. Gronke in that blue mini. That's coming through the shot right there. Alex Garcia has already been on track today. He was qualifying for the GR Cup race, which is coming up later this morning. He very nearly won race 1 yesterday. Spent a lot of time leading that race before misfortune struck, but he'll have another chance at it later this afternoon. Celso Neto and Chris Walsh on the front row. Then it's Cooper Broll and Chris DeFreitas starting in 3rd and 4th, respectively. That's row number 2 of the starting grid. Then we get to the TC class cars. Christian Pericarpi looking to back up his win from yesterday. He's now won 2 races in a row, dating back to VIR Race 2. Jeff Rica, the championship leader, alongside. Then Scott Thompson, who had his best results of the season, matching it with a 4th yesterday, starts 3rd today, ahead of Sally McNulty, Connor Attrell, and Vinanatra starting out back. 2 newcomers to the championship for the Rica Autosport team. PJ Gronke on the pole in TCA, looking to go back-to-back here at what might be his favorite racetrack. Alex Garcia and Bruce Marine starting in the 2nd and final row of the TCA field here today. They finished 2nd and 3rd, with Bruce just edging Alex yesterday. But the position swapped on the starting grid for today's race, which was set by fastest lap of the race yesterday. So those that are starting up front, we know their race pace is awfully good, but can they keep it there? That's going to be the question as we get ready to go green here at Road America. Beautiful part of the racetrack here, the run down to Canada corner. Call it a straight, it's not really, but it is full throttle, and it leads to one of many good passing zones around this track. That's one of the things drivers love about racing at Road America. There are plenty of places on a given lap that you can make a pass.
Yeah, and it's amazing, 3 big straightaways here, even though he said it's slightly curved there through Kettle Bottoms into Canada corner. Terminal speed is almost identical, up into 1, into 5, and down into 12 as the field now gets ready for the safety car to peel off. Celso Neto is good and look to try and control this race from the pole. Acura had about 3/10 advantage in pace here yesterday in race trim.
Little bit of drama on the formation lap. Apparently Scott Thompson had a spin, not the first to do that today. It's worth noting, in relatively cool conditions. So he's out of position. He was set to start 3rd in the TC class field, but he'll have to start from out back. You see that TC Mini taking its position in line behind its 2 TCA teammates. But at the front of the field, your Roval pole winner, Celso Neto, waiting for the green flag in the VP acceleration zone. There he goes. He's able to pull ahead. Cooper Broll now challenging for the 2nd spot alongside Chris Walsh. The TC start apparently controlled by Jeff Rica, and a carbon copy of yesterday as Broll gets in deep. Able to gather it back up, but he is up into 2nd.
He is. I mean, he made the move on Walsh immediately at the drop of the green, but then he got very late on the brakes. Probably tires aren't up to their optimum temperatures just yet, and got all locked up there in turn 1. That's given Neto a huge lead here.
It has. Celso will be loving this when he looks out the rearview mirror. In the meantime, we've got Pericarpi trying to get by Rica once again. Rica got the jump on the initial start, side by side. That is the fight right there for the lead in TC. In the meantime, we have Thompson coming back through the field, trying to catch up to the rest of the TC class. Walsh has made the pass on Brohl. He's now back into the second spot, and Pericarpi has put the pass on Rika to retake the lead in TC.
He had that position all the way down the Moraine Suite, finally made it stick down into turn 5, but Rika's just got to keep the pressure on because Christian had huge pace here yesterday. But up front, look at Celso Neto just taking off from this field.
He'll need to keep it that way because Chris Walsh has had good pace over the course of the season. Pericarpi goes on the defensive in the Mini, racing the Hyundai of Rika for the lead in class. De Freitas right now in the 3rd spot in the white car, just behind these two. Actually, sorry, that's the TCX class car of De Freitas. Is in 4th place in class. It's McNulty who runs in the 3rd spot in TC.
Yeah, coming off a great podium yesterday, Sally did, so looking to do the same thing here. Start the year with a couple of podiums, and Sonoma. Great to see her back. Spraying some champagne here yesterday.
Sure, it was a big celebration to get back on the podium. First to congratulate her after the race was the team boss, Jeff Rika. Here is a look at Sally. Oh, Freitas goes wide there in Canada corner. These two will be side by side, 2 cars in different classes, at least for this year, but that all changes when we look ahead to 2025.
De Freitas was almost in Canada there. He was way off the road.
Here's Etrell closing in, Canadian driver. Finished 4th in the Canadian Touring Car Championship in 2020, but making his debut in this series.
He was really strong early in the race yesterday and faded a bit towards the end.
One to keep an eye on, though, perhaps. 1 lap complete. Celso Neto leads by 2 seconds over Chris Walsh. Then it's Cooper Brohl, who's got his mirrors full of the TC class leaders. Christian Pericarpi and Jeff Rika right there behind him. And Brohl doing a nice job to keep with the points leader, Chris Walsh, not letting him get too far away. And
there's so little, as DJ alluded to, in terms of the overall pace of these TC machines here at Road America. Their terminal speed is almost identical to the TCX cars, so that's what's making this battle kind of blended here, which really gives us a great precursor to what we're going to see in 2025.
Yeah, for sure. Rika looks to the inside here. It's a late move. Pericarpi sees it coming and has no recourse. He has to settle back in, dropping back to 2nd.
That was a little strange there. Christian didn't seem to have the pace there at the end of the straightaway, which is unusual. Yesterday he looked to be a bit stronger than the Hyundai.
Rika covers off the inside into 6. Christian, though, looking to counterattack. He's right there on the tail again, so any lost momentum, it's been regathered. Rika forced to go on the defensive once again.
Yeah, and these two aren't afraid to trade a little paint here, see if they can keep it clean here as they head towards the carousel.
We did see that yesterday. We almost saw it again right there. Pericarpi does cut to the inside and make the pass once more into the carousel. Remember yesterday, he had a pass on a TCX car, I think it was Kaplan, around the outside in the carousel, and he was just raving about that move to me after the race. He told me, I've been trying it on iRacing all week, and I thought, let's see if it works in the real thing.
Yeah, big confidence, and the car's working well. Little Mini seems to change direction quickly, but also have good sort of grip and balance through those long, high-speed corners.
Rika, though, might not have the package here this weekend, but he's doing his best to keep Pericarpi honest. It's been a great year for Jeff by and large. A few mechanical hiccups have cost him a chance at some of the points we thought might have been going his way, but it looks like this could be his year to finally take this championship. It came so close last season.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they get close together again, whether that Hyundai does have a straightaway speed advantage this morning, because yesterday I didn't think that was the case, but he kind of went by Christian very easily on the run down at turn 5. So there's nothing technically amiss with the Mini at high speed or anything.
We did talk some yesterday about the difference between the two platforms. That Mini has the street car gearbox, 5th gear on that 5-speed H pattern. It's basically your highway overdrive gear. Probably not the ideal gear ratio to go racing, but that's the way that this TC class is structured. You basically race a slightly modified version of the road car. Meanwhile, the Hyundai has, I believe, an 8-speed gearbox, and it's a sequential, so a lot different.
Here we go again.
shifting package between the two. And yeah, you're right, into that straightaway.
Yeah.
Totally different story than we were seeing yesterday.
I wonder if Pericarpi's got something going on at high speed. Maybe he can't get top gear or something, because he seemed very vulnerable in the last 100, 200 meters down into the brake zone for 5.
See if DJ maybe can check in with the LAP team, get to the bottom of that. As Pericarpi tries to get that lead back. It's swapped hands now 3 or 4 times. Rika won't let him get to the inside for the carousel this time. He learned that lesson on the last lap.
Christian thinks about, we talked about that move yesterday. I'm not sure he's going to pull it off on Rika around the outside of the carousel, but they're very evenly matched through most of the lap. It just seems down into turn 5, there's a huge delta in performance.
Nose to tail, the leaders in the TC class. High commitment through the kink, using that curbing on corner exit. And he sits in the slipstream. Down to Canada corner. Will Rika defend? He will not. He senses Pericarpi wasn't close enough.
Yes, very evenly matched it seems. Not much to choose between them. You mentioned the different transmissions, of course, so that'll favor one car or another, dependent on the corner and minimum speed.
Jeff puts in so much work running this team. He, for many, many years, has represented Hyundai at the touring car level here in North America under the Gen Racer banner, and in recent years has had a chance to represent them abroad as well, going and racing in Korea in recent years, and also participating in races at the Nürburgring, including the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. Loves his racing and puts his heart and soul into this project.
This is fascinating. I mean, I thought Pericarpi just had the pace to maybe pull away and sweep the weekend, but certainly today, either he has a slight issue or Rika and that group have found a little bit of performance.
8 minutes gone by. Celso Neto's lead is now 3.4 seconds over Chris Walsh. Cooper Brohl 1.5 seconds back further in the 3rd spot. Then you drop back to this fight here. Rika and Pericarpi 4th and 5th overall, but 1st and 2nd within their class. In TCA, PJ Gronke now with a 6.5 second lead over Alex Garcia, who on the last lap got around Bruce Marine to take the 2nd spot back.
Yeah, those two have been duking it out for that 2nd spot in TCA all weekend, it seems. So Bruce had the upper hand yesterday. Alex is trying to return the favor today.
Can't take our eyes off this, though. Pericarpi looking left, comes back to the other side. Unable to pull alongside of the Hyundai, and the fight will rage on. In the meantime, let's get an update on the Mini from DJ.
Yeah, Ryan, I just had a chance to talk with the Mini JCW and LAP team. They're saying there's no problem with the car. What they honestly expect is that Jeff Rika's just learned a couple of tricks since yesterday. Christian's driving a very similar race to what he did yesterday. Jeff just looks like he's made a little bit of a jump, and they're excited. This is what they want. They are race fans at heart, so a good battle in between these two competitors for P1 in TC. It's a dream come true for them.
Well, we're the beneficiaries for sure. This is fun to watch between these two, as it has been for a lot of the year. I mean, this is shades of what we saw at VIR, certainly, between these two. There was not much between them.
Yeah, there certainly wasn't, and I think Rika's car is strong here today, but when I look at the pace yesterday of Pericarpi, he was only 2 or 3 tenths off the lead TCX cars, whereas today he's about a couple of seconds off, so something's definitely gone backwards in terms of the performance here on the Mini today.
Back up the hill. 10 minutes complete at the quarter mark. These races fly by at just 40 minutes, and next year they'll fly by even faster because we're looking at 25-minute touring car races in 2025. On a handful of weekends, it'll be 3 races on a weekend rather than 2, but the bulk of them will still be 2 race weekends. Leader in TCA continues to be PJ Gronke. It was 6.5 seconds at last check. There's the battle, though, for 2nd and 3rd. Honda ahead of Mini, breaking up the Mini party that was a 1-2 yesterday.
Yeah, Gronke scored his 5th win of the season yesterday. Looks to sweep here today. Has a pretty dominant lead, but look at Bruce Marine right in the tailpipes there of Alex Garcia as they head up towards turn 1.
This is where he made the pass for second yesterday into turn 1, but Garcia has the inside this time. Bruce, or as I know him, Dad, settles back in, closing in a little bit. Garcia, though, great job keeping that momentum up, making the run through turn 1 and giving himself a bit of breathing room.
It's really fun to think about the dynamic here with your dad racing against young Alex, who's a fierce competitor in GR Cup with all of those youngsters he's around, and then he's got your dad right behind him, and they're having a great duel out there this morning.
They are. Yeah, Bruce has done a lot of Spec Miata racing here at Road America over the years. This is his 2nd year running in the Mini at Road America. Did do a couple races 2 years ago at Indianapolis as well. Expect to see him run at Indy in October later this year too.
Looks like he's got a really balanced race car, driving it well, keeping the pressure on Alex here.
Did tell me that after qualifying they made an adjustment to the car to make it better over the long run. He felt like he was losing the front end of the car in that qualifying session. So we'll see if that's what holds up in today's race, if he can have a perhaps stronger package in the second half of the race. And who knows, maybe Alex also made an adjustment for race 2, noticing that the way that the race played out yesterday in race number 1. 27 minutes to go, and this battle has gone nowhere. Pericarpi sits in the slipstream. Does he have a way past, though? Here's the Gin Racer team watching the battle fly by.
This is going to get feisty, I feel, before the end of this race. Pericarpi was really late on the brakes a couple of laps ago when we watched him. He gets a really good clean run through turn 1, tucks it to the inside. Got a feeling he's going to push down here. No, he decides to give it up a little bit. That's not Christian-like.
No, it is not. Broll maybe has some trouble because he's using the turn signal there to point these two by, it would appear. That's the 3rd place car in TCX. Very interesting.
They are so evenly matched here, the Mini and the Hyundai. Yesterday, Christian definitely had a slight edge, so Ricker and the whole team have gone to work, it seems, and come up with a better solution for this morning's race. Christian's being a little bit more patient. We've seen in races past, he's pretty feisty and wants to get that lead and control these races, but today he's just analyzing and waiting.
This is another contrast in experience. Jeff is by no means, you know, an old man or anything, but he's been at this for quite a few years now, and Christian's still very, very new to racing outside of go-karts, and even then, it's not like he spent a ton of time in a kart as a kid. He does spend a lot of time in the race shop. Of course, it's his dad's team, LAP Motorsports, and he's pretty handy with the wrench. Just started a job recently with a karting team in the Indy area, working as a mechanic there.
Yeah, and I think for Jeff Ricker, I mean, I bet Christian's in his head a little bit because he knows that Christian is not afraid to trade a little bit of paint. So he's going to know that sooner or later he's going to send it. And that really keeps you on your toes and makes you a little bit nervous about, am I positioning the race car? Am I leaving the door open a little bit?
Could this be the moment? Jeff had to go defensive into 14. That could compromise the exit. Maybe that gives the Mini the edge it needs into turn 1. It looks like Christian's closer than he's been in previous laps. Pulls out of line, but has to get back in line. To that race at VIR, we did see the end of the straightaway. The Hyundai, and part of it's due to that gearbox difference we've been talking about, did have a bit of an edge over the Mini.
Yeah, I just felt like Christian could just drive by Jeff yesterday, and he's not doing that today. Keeping it really nice and clean. Fascinating battle just to see how this one works out.
It is.
Long way to go in this race, still 24 minutes on the board.
It's not what you want to hear if you're Jeff Rica, no. Right? 24 minutes more of this. trouble here for one of the team cars. This is Connor Attrell, who had bad luck yesterday, and he's in the pit lane here. Quaker State sponsored car. Tough luck for the Canadian, making his debut here this weekend in TC America, powered by Skip Barber.
Yeah, he was impressive. Seemed to have good pace. Look forward to seeing him back again, but this battle in TC is not going anywhere. Christian is absolutely glued to the tail of Jeff Ricker's car right now. Just trying to figure out where is the weakness in the Hyundai. Is there a brake zone I can send it down the inside? Is he going to wait? I think he realized he doesn't have the pace this morning just to take off, so maybe he's just playing the waiting game, waiting for that clock to roll by a little bit deeper into this race.
It does look like, though, he's getting to the bumper closer on the straightaways now than he was earlier in the race. Maybe the tire wear on the Hyundai is starting to tell. But again, as close as he is, Christian just seems reticent to pull out a line and make that big dive like we've seen him do over the years.
Yeah, you see Jeff's car seems like got a little bit of understeer, working those fronts there through Canada corner. The Mini looks really balanced. I think Christian's really tied it up a little bit. Looks like he's been a little bit too aggressive on the brake pedal earlier in this race, but he's rolling good speed now.
Christian not as close as he was last time, though. Looks like Jeff's going to be comfortable into turn number 1. Just nip and tuck, though. Hard to find.
Nothing between them.
Yeah. Oh, and that is Garcia with the right front puncture. That was from second in class. Saw a wave out the window from Bruce there.
There was contact between the two cars.
They were side by side at start finish, but that would have been several corners ago.
Not sure if that was just the tire sidewall I see in movement or whether it was the wheel itself.
Good question. Definitely is some bodywork damage, but again, don't know if that's because of a puncture or because of some contact.
See the rear fender flapping a little bit.
And here is Attrell in the pit lane with the hood up, and that is rarely a good sign, if ever. So back to this we go. Meanwhile, Neto, by the way, leads by 5.2 seconds over Walsh. Just to give you an update on that, Brohl, whatever his problem is, continues to lap and holds third place in TCX. We'll keep an eye on that as well as on this battle, but let's get more on Attrell now with DJ in the pits.
Well, it sounds like it's a problem with the intercooler here for Attrell. They're saying there's maybe a hose loose or something like that, but they're checking it out and trying to get under it. I also had a chance to jump down and talk to the Gen Racer team about the mindset of Jeff Rica. They told me they really don't know what his mindset is, Ryan, because he is absolutely buttoned up on the radio. He is all concentration, all focused in, and not saying a word to the team.
That sounds like Jeff. From my experience down at the pits over the years. Here comes the Mini, though. It looked like he had a good run out of the kink, but just runs out of momentum at the end of the straightaway once again.
Yeah, it just seems like that mid to upper range, the Hyundai just has that slight edge, so you definitely thought that Pericarpi had the track position there to keep it there and make a slide down to the inside by the time they got to the brake pedal, but Ricker had already cleared him once again.
Halfway through, still a long way to go for Jeff Rica as he tries to hang on. A long way, too, for Celso Neto to continue to manage this. He's got a big lead at 6 seconds, but you don't want to use up those tires now in case there is a full course yellow and a restart late in the going, especially with this front-wheel drive car. And the pursuing car is a rear-wheel drive car, so you would think, logic would say, that the BMW should be a little bit stronger late in the race, considering the workload on the tires is spread more evenly with the rear-wheel drive platform.
Yeah, and it's always horses for courses. I mean, Road America is very different to VIR, of course. But nonetheless, I think this dominance that we're seeing by Celso this weekend is all of the hard graft that's been put in by that Skip Barber Racing operation alongside HRC and Acura, of course, with the platform to develop the car, and it's finally come good. It's the BMW's been the dominant car in this class for 2 or 3 seasons now, and it's great to see Acura suddenly get that car to the sharp end.
Should have some company joining them next year. There are rumors about additional manufacturers joining with cars built to TCX regulations, and I believe a new BMW offering is one of them. Not really a new manufacturer in that case, but a new car. There are new manufacturers as well kicking the tires. Here we go again. Where have we seen this before? No, this is not a replay.
No. It's cut and paste from what we've seen in previous laps here. Yeah, they're really pushing the limits of those Pirellis there through the carousel turn. But very patient Christian Pericarpi here. But we're only halfway.
It is
just tucked in, Ryan.
Pardon?
Look at that. Does he break out? Seems like he's just content just to sit in the wheel tracks here.
Report from the pits, suspension damage for Alex Garcia.
I thought it was a bit more than a tire. Yeah, I think maybe he just had suspension failure right there. You can see the car still has a lot of right front camber. Probably a broken trail arm there on the front suspension, so maybe it was a ride over one of the curbs somewhere around this circuit did the damage. It wasn't contact with Bruce.
That is not a fun place to have suspension failure. I speak from experience.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, happened to be one time there in the carousel, and that was an unpleasant morning, let's put it that way. But glad to see he was able to continue on and get to the pit lane. Looks like, though, the race is over, and I don't think that he'll have turned enough laps if we stay green the rest of the way. That happened right before the halfway mark to score points. Not that he's really in it for the points anyway. Alex Garcia is running a partial schedule. PJ Gronke has been running the full campaign and has a pretty solid grasp on the lead in the TCA standings.
Pericarpi's dropped back a fair amount in this lap here. Just wonder if Christian's car is 100% healthy. He was trying to manage something. He certainly realized that he didn't have the advantage that he had here yesterday, so if he got to the front, it's going to be tough to hang on to it. So I think he's just playing a waiting game, but he's got to regroup here a little bit because Rick has taken off from him.
Yeah, very strange. Just different than we saw yesterday. Did get confirmation that the BOP is unchanged from yesterday, but Christian just reporting to the team that unlike yesterday, he's not been able to use those TCX cars to help pull him down the straights in the slipstream. I guess that was part of his strategy to stay up at the front using the TCX traffic, which he doesn't have around him here today. Fewer TCX cars took the start, and then with the issue, whatever it was for Cooper Brohl, who's now dropped down to 4th, by the way. The Freight is now in line perhaps for his first podium. You know, Cooper's got some kind of an issue, it would appear, as he's dropped off the pace. So that TCX drafting help just isn't there.
Yeah, unusual rate of attrition here in this short sprint race in all of the classes. We're seeing some issues. DJ's got an update for us on Pericarpi. What are you hearing, DJ?
Hearing they're playing a little bit of the strategy game here at this point. That's what Minnie's telling me. They're being a little bit cagey with their answers. They don't want to show their hands, but they feel confident still to the end of this race, and they're thinking long term.
All right, well, they're running out of time here. 15 minutes left. Just over a quarter of the race still to run. Celso Neto, by the way, puts lie to my theory about front-wheel drive cars because he just did the race's fastest lap at a 2:24.2. Another driver finding some pace late in the race. Vinanatra did a 2:28.561. is now only 2.8 seconds behind Scott Thompson in the battle for 4th and 5th in TC. So it could be fun before it's all said and done. Scott's done a nice job to recover from that spin on the formation lap and is himself 4.4 seconds behind McNulty, running similar pace, a little bit slower the last time around. As mentioned, new fastest lap of the race belongs to this man, Celso Neto.
Yeah, he's just been the dominant force. He was so excited after the victory, as we mentioned, had the win at VIR, but yesterday that was a big, big win, a big moment for that team to truly dominate the race, and they've come out this morning, and to me, they look even stronger in terms of their pace advantage over Chris Walsh in the BMW. Yesterday was just a couple of tenths. Today it's a full half second, the fast lap advantage that he has to this point in the race.
Background in touring car style racing in Brazil for Celso, became the youngest podium finisher in Brazilian Touring Car Championship history at age 18 back in 2018, and has raced in the very competitive Stock Car Brazil Series, did a couple of NASCAR Brazil races last year as well, in addition to campaigning full-time here in TC America, where he finished 3rd in the championship with a win and 9 podium finishes. Has 2 wins on the season this year and is now 13.5 minutes away from adding another to the tally.
Yeah, I think he's the real deal. I think he's a really bright young talent, and I think he's just looking to finish off this season in style. It's going to be unlikely that he can catch Chris Walsh unless Chris has some DNFs, because that points lead that he built by winning all those races consecutively is built, obviously. But Celso's just thinking about how do we score more and more wins before the season's end.
PJ Gronke running untroubled at the front of TCA. His lead is 15 seconds over his teammates. Always love a PJ Gronke victory lane interview. He gets the sponsors in, which is quite the task, and he just has such a passion for this, lives and breathes his racing.
He does. Fun personality, but Bruce Marine has a faster lap than our leader right now. He's 3 tenths up on PJ's best, so that's a nice thing to hang your hat on there for Bruce.
I may have noticed that. Here he is. Solutions through Synergy on the side of the car. Again, expect to see him racing at Indianapolis, the hometown race for him later on this year. Once competed and won in class a 10-hour club-level endurance race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I was part of that lineup, as was Clark Camber of Apex Broadcast, who's in the truck. Probably the crowning achievement of my behind-the-wheel career, which isn't saying a whole lot, quite frankly, but it was pretty cool.
Well, this is a special place to come out and do a select race for Bruce. Indianapolis, obviously the history there, but I think in terms of actually driving a racetrack, this one is tough to beat. There's so many great racetracks on our calendar, but and no disrespect to all of the others, but Road America is something else.
Yeah, you polled the paddock, and I bet minimum 50% of drivers will tell you this is their favorite stop in North America.
Yeah. It's just that you come into the facility, it's continually upgraded. The spectators love coming here because they make it user-friendly. All of the access roads to really explore the full 4 miles here. And yet when I first came here, you had to like dig through the trees to get out to the backside of the racetrack. You could get there, but it was an adventure. But now it's really easily accessible. Great concession stands, you know, souvenir shops are first class. You can really walk away from here with a true experience of racing.
Yeah, and you feel the history too as you walk through here. I think they've done a really nice job of encapsulating all that history. This is a big move from Anatra. Oh, I think it spooked Scott Thompson a little bit, who comes back now, fighting back. I previewed this battle a few laps ago. This is 4th and 5th in TC. Anatra came from a long way back there. Did a great job to get it woed down at Apex, and it's not done yet. Door to door into turn 14 here.
Yeah, not literally, though. They're giving each other just a little bit of race room. No, Anatra runs off. That was unfortunate. He wasn't forced there, just got out in the gray. There's still talk, we talked about last year with the track being resurfaced at the end of 2022, and it was kind of a single lane racetrack in terms of grip. I think there's still a little bit of that. You get out wide here in the gray, suddenly you're struggling for grip.
It's definitely not the same as it was in its first year of this new surface, where you ventured off the racing line at your own peril, but there is an element of that still. It'll get better as the surface ages. That repave, by the way, was the first time the track had been repaved fully since 1995. They do it well here at Road America when you consider the harsh Wisconsin winter that the surface is going to have to deal with year in and year out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes down to the base, not just the racing surface, but the foundation here is so solid, so strong. You don't get the movement in the winters, and consequently, you're not having to resurface the track as often as some of the other venues that we go to.
This is Chris DeFreitas interjecting himself among the TC class cars. And it's going to cost Anatra in his chase of Thompson. This is Cooper Brawl. We speculated there might have been something amiss, and I think this tells you what you need to know. He comes into the pits. He's well past the halfway mark, so he will score points, but he'll do no better, it would appear, than fourth here today. But I was going to say, for Chris DeFreitas, this would be a first career podium for him. Finished fourth on a couple of occasions, including yesterday. This would be a big deal for Chris as he continues in his development.
Yeah, it'd be a nice feather in his cap. Great place to get it done. Long way back from our leaders, but nonetheless, he continues to push and improve every single weekend.
Report from DJ on Cooper Brawl, something to do with overheating on the 19 car. That's tough. Cooper had a podium yesterday.
It's unusual. We don't have high temperatures here this week. It's relatively mild in terms of the forecast for the high here, maybe mid-low 70-degree ambient. And so I've seen a lot of technical issues in this race today and with a bunch of cars, which is very, very unusual.
It is. These two not done yet, despite the fact they're not in the same class. Acura and Hyundai. DeFreitas in the white Acura, and Anatra, the newcomer, in the white and green Hyundai right behind. Do like that paint scheme with the checkered flag motif on the side.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Afraid to stretch him a little bit down this front straightaway, which you'd expect a little bit with the class difference, but in the brake zones, it looks like Anatra is very, very competitive.
Neto's lead over Walsh now, climbing up over 10 seconds. This has been comprehensive this weekend. Great performances from Celso.
Yeah, you wouldn't have forecast that when you saw how dominant Chris was at the start of this season. So big switch up. It's going to make the end of the season exciting as Cooper takes off from his pit box, see if he's going to get back out there or just head to the paddock.
Checking back in on the top two in TC, and Jeff Rica's lead has grown now to 4.7 seconds. Christian Pericarpi gave him a good fight. Did get a little bit closer on the last lap, but has a lot of work to do if he's going to run him back down. And then, as we saw, even more work to do if it comes to actually trying to make a pass. Rica's a tough guy to get around and did a wonderful job to fend off multiple attempts from Christian in the early part of this race.
Yeah, it's been very bizarre just observing Christian's lap times. He was losing a couple of seconds a lap there for 2 or 3 laps, and now he's kind of gained a second back. So some of this may be just pace management by Jeff Rica, who continues to lead now by a healthy margin up around 5 seconds. But I can't imagine Christian's playing that big a game. He just doesn't have enough time to play with now, with just under 6 minutes to go to catch him back up.
I wouldn't think so. It's not really Christian's style anyway.
I just think the team may be being a little bit coy with us in terms of the information they're sharing, because I really felt right from the drop of the green flag that Christian's car was not performing like we saw here yesterday.
Well, when you consider, too, that he had the pace in qualifying to have the second fastest lap overall yesterday, it does beg the question.
No, he's gained a second. Us now. The gap is now 3.8.
Well, it's a bit of a mystery, but we'll see. Maybe we could have a run for the race win at the finish after all. But Christian's going to have to hustle to get there to Jeff.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Be really curious to get a debrief with Christian after this race to truly understand the performance of that race car. He seems to be back into his sweet spot. I mean, he's not running lap times close to his fastest lap of the race, but he's certainly running lap times a second quicker than Jeff Ricker. But maybe Jeff is looking at the clock and recognizing what he needs to do and not to use the tires up too much. Try and bring it home.
A little bit of TCA traffic looming ahead for Jeff Ricker as he carves his way through the carousel.
Right on that curb there's where you want to be there, just to commit to the exit. Tighten down the belts, get ready for the kink. Send it through there.
In all likelihood, he would have been the champion last year had he not missed the Circuit of the Americas round to go participate at the 24 Hours at the Nürburgring. Hard to blame him. I mean, you get the chance to go race in an event like that and represent Hyundai, but at the end of the season, I wonder what he was thinking about that, the consequences of that choice.
Yeah, and there was talk of maybe Mark Wilkins or someone like that filling the seat, and maybe if he could have taken some of the points away that weekend, that could have helped the cause a little bit as well.
Yeah, Clay Williams ended up sweeping that weekend, and that was a big boost to him as he went on to the championship. Clay is here this weekend, as he has been all season long, as coach to Scott Thompson. And we've talked a lot about how Scott has been coming on strong this weekend, and really all throughout the course of the season. And I think the tutelage of Clay Williams has a lot to do with that. Speaking of Scott, here we go again. Chris DeFreitas has caught him and passed him. That's the TCX car, which means the battle for 4th and 5th is back on. Scott Thompson in the Mini with Clay on the radio talking with him, with Vinanatra, the newcomer, right behind.
We're getting down to the wire here. Should be white flag for the leaders, I think, next time by.
Vinton just did his best lap of the race at a 2:27.9. Thompson just ran, what, to 2:30? And Vinanatra did another 2:28 just a moment ago. So, yeah, the pace is with the Hyundai at this stage here.
Yeah, Thompson's going to have to get the hammer down. He's run laps a couple of seconds faster than his last one, so needs to find that pace once again if he's going to hang on to this position.
How tough is it, though, to go from kind of cruise mode, just get out there, collect the result, and then get back into the mindset of, I got to go race now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you develop a rhythm, and when you get out of that, it's hard to suddenly find it once again. But he's going to feel the heat, and maybe he's enjoying that. He loves the race. He loves the championship, what it brings, what it offers him. So great to see him out there battling out in the top 5. Here comes Vinanatra.
We know he's good on the brakes. We saw that in his fight with DeFreitas earlier, and he goes through, taking that position away down at the foot of the hill in turn 5. Covers off the inside move, at least temporarily, but here comes Thompson looking to go back up the inside. They go side by side again. Little bit of contact between the two, but they carry on.
Yeah, it was a late move there by Thompson, but he got up to the inside and just a little argy-bargy coming off at turn 6 there. Hopefully no damage to the tires with that. Neto across the line sees that white flag.
Now, the team had told me that they're working on getting Scott to be just that little bit more aggressive when it comes to the cut and thrust of one of these races, and maybe we're seeing that on display. Looks like he's back on his horse here. He's charging again.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to stick up the inside there, up into turn 6. There's a tricky corner. You kind of crest the hill. That's right at your turn-in point, so hitting your marks is so important. Sends it through the King. Big run here down towards Canada.
These cars here will still have another lap to turn. After this, they've yet to see the white flag. The overall leader, though, has Celso Neto now by 8.2 seconds over Chris Walsh. Rika's lead over Pericarpi, 3 seconds. This is 4th and 5th in the TC class. And it's Vinanatra on debut in the Hyundai up against Scott Thompson in his rookie season.
Not the lap to do battle here as they come up the front straightaway.
And there is a TCX car to help a little bit with the tow, if that is important to the Mini, like we heard the team allude to in regards to Christian Pericarpi's pace.
You definitely see the Elantra gap him a little bit up towards turn 1. Mini late on the brakes there. See what Thompson did on that lap. That's more like it, down within about half a second of his previous best, so he is getting back into the rhythm and the pace that he displayed earlier in the show.
But it's all about this guy, Celso Neto, who drove to the win yesterday, looks set to back it up and sweep the weekend for Jeff Rica, who leads in TC. His teammate, Ruben Iglesias Jr., unfortunately not able to start the race here today after damage sustained in race 1 yesterday. And that then puts him in a position for Jeff where he's going to take solid control of the points lead with just 4 races to go after this one. Out of the final corner, though, at the front of the field, Celso Neto for the Skip Barber Racing Team and his Acura Integra Type S comes to the checkered flag. Celso Neto has won for the 3rd time in 2024, holding off the points leader, Chris Walsh, who is next across the line. In the meantime, we have got a change for the lead here, Cal.
I think so. I think Rica may be in trouble here, looking at timing and scoring.
Something has gone wrong for the Rica Autosport team owner and driver that has allowed Christian Pericarpi to come through just ahead of him. It's PJ Gronke, the leader in TCA. He will take the checkered flag and sweep the weekend at Road America. And it's a double dose of victory for many, with Christian Pericarpi in stunning fashion coming through to take the win here on the final lap. Jeff Rica does cross the line, but in 2nd place.
Yeah, something happened there on that lap. Not sure if he had an off or a fuel starvation issue, but something went amiss on that Hyundai. So we talked about Christian Pericarpi managing this race. I'm not sure he had that one up his sleeve.
No, but he'll take it. 4 wins for Mini this weekend at Road America across the 2 classes. PJ Gronke and Christian Pericarpi in formation. Here's that battle for 4th and 5th we were talking about, and Natra will fend off Scott Thompson at the stripe. Good battle between 2 relative newcomers, and hopefully a portent of things to come.
Yeah, for Rica, his last lap was 12 seconds slower than Christian Pericarpi, so something went amiss on that Hyundai and cost him the win.
And Scott Thompson threw down his best lap of the race there on the final lap.
Cool.
2:28.2.
Nothing anyone could do about this man here this weekend. Celso Neto sweeps. Dominant performance. 6/10 faster than Chris Walsh in race trim today.
Fantastic stuff. Does seem like that Skip Barber Racing Team is starting to wrap its head around that Acura. Package is getting stronger and stronger as it goes through its 1st year of service. Rica's back on the pace here. He's just caught the 2 minis on the cooldown lap, so it wasn't fuel, I think it's safe to say. That is a mystery we will need to get resolved. But first, let's look at the results. Celso Neto by 8 seconds over Chris Walsh in the TCX fight. Then it's Pericarpi over Rica by about 8 seconds as well for TC honors. Sally McNulty makes it a double podium weekend for the first time since Sonoma back at the start of the season. Krista Freitas, his first career podium in TCX with a 6th overall result in TCA. PJ Gronke heads home Bruce Marine, but another 1-2 finish for the Minis in the TCA class, while Alex Garcia dropped out due to a mechanical failure about the midway portion of the race today. Shame for him, but he'll have another shot at it in Toyota GR Cup North America action, which is coming up later on this morning. Actually, technically the afternoon, 12:05 local time. And very soon we'll have a chance to hear from the race winners. Really curious to hear about what happened on that final lap in TC. See if Christian can shed some light on that for us as he makes his way to victory lane. All in all, another clean race for TC America. Just the one incident yesterday of any consequence, and that is good news with only a few weeks until the next round of the season down at Barber. Really excited to see these cars at that track, actually. I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that should be a great venue for some really great action, I would think, amongst the TC divisions.
Beautiful place, Barber Motorsports Park. If you've never had the chance to go, they call it the Augusta National of race courses, and for good reason. Immaculately kept, wonderful museum, especially if you like racing motorcycles. And Lotus race cars, largest collection of Lotus race cars on North American soil, held there at the museum at Barber. Talk a lot more about that, I'm sure, when we get on site next month. There's Christian Pericarpi. This one, a little bit more unexpected, but he'll celebrate the same way he did yesterday, climbing on top of the roof. And there's Celso Neto, a bit more subdued, but thrilled nevertheless as he gets the congratulations from the Skip Barber Racing School team. PJ Gronke, the third winner in the TCA class here this weekend. That's the mini team celebrating with Christian. You could hear him say, "You gotta be kidding me." I think that was his reaction when he saw that Jeff was in strife. DJ Clark is there in victory lane. Let's go to him now.
Celso Neto, 2 for 2 at the National Park of Speed. They were just saying not nearly as excited as yesterday, but still got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, playing was the same as yesterday. Get to a good start. Chris had a really good pace at the beginning, so I was really trying to put my head down and create a gap. My teammate Cooper Brawl did a great start as well and got in between us, so that really helped us out, creating a gap with us in the beginning. But yeah, the draft's really important here. Chris didn't really have it today, so that definitely didn't play in his favor, which helped us a bit. But yeah, car was great. I think the whole team at Skip Barber, Simcraft Racing Simulators, everyone that helps me out, my sponsors. It really was a great weekend for sure. Sweeped it. Can't ask for anything better than that. Pole, P1. So thank you to my family, everyone, all my friends, all supporters, sponsors. Had a great time this weekend and hope to do it again at Barber. Let's go. Yeah.
All right, you stole my last question from me. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to make our way over here and find Christian Pericarpi, the surprise winner up in the TC category. I've got him right over here. Christian, if I can grab you here for a second, my friend. He's got to give a quick high five. That's totally fine. I've got to start with the end. Obviously fantastic to be able to get a win, but we have no idea what happened to Jeff Rica. Do you have any idea?
No, I really don't. To be honest, I feel bad. He had a great race, and we raced hard. We had an issue midway of the race, and kind of just took us out, and then finally we recycled, got our boost back, and then had a couple of killer laps there for the end. I think that put us in a better spot. I think he got a limp mode because it looked like he was cycling his car as well, but a little frustrated with our problems, but can't be a sore loser, and happy that we came out on top.
Well, he did come out on top, Christian. Congratulations.
Thank you. 2 Indiana boys on top once again.
There it is. There it is. That also answers a little bit of our question of what was going on during the course of the race. But I'm going to make my way over to PJ Gronke. PJ, get out the broom. It's another sweep here at the best track in North America.
Absolutely, DJ. This was just amazing to sweep the weekend at Road America. Of all places, my favorite track in North America. To finally do this here in front of so many fans at this iconic track, it was just out of this world. I can't thank Mini USA, the Mini JCW team, all my sponsors, Joseph Gas, Aletha, Tundra, TalentNet, Eventscape, and everyone else so much for everything. This is for all of you guys. We are #1, Mini JCW, Mini USA.
There it is. A very happy first place from PJ Gronke.
That much closer, too, to wrapping up the final TCA championship. And how interesting would it be if he were to win the championship in the final year of TCA, having already done that with TCB in previous years when that championship went away. Look at some points here. TCX, Chris Walsh, even though he did not win this weekend, still in solid control of the TCX points ahead of Celso Neto. Cooper Brawl inching closer to third despite his problems with the Catania, is now focused on Pirelli GT4 America here in the SRO paddock. Meanwhile, in the TC class, Jeff Rica does take pretty firm control given the issues this weekend for Ruben Iglesias Jr., and that has allowed Christian Pericarpi to jump into second place.
Yeah, and looking at the math, I mean, if Christian was to win out, it might be tied if Jeff finished second every race. So it's going to be tight by the time we get to Indy, and we know what happened there last year between those two drivers.
might start talking about a championship here. I got to do the math, but PJ Gronke, I mean, it's effectively a done deal. He will be the TCA champion in 2024. Alex Garcia, tough weekend today, but more to come from him, I'm sure. Look back on the race today. Second of 2 this weekend for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Great start. Celso Neto alluded to it in his interview, to get to the front and for his teammate Cooper Brohl to fling it to the inside and give him some breathing room. This was the show for a lot of the race. Jeff Rica and Christian Pericarpi nearly making contact there at the entrance to the carousel. At the end of the straight, though, Rica did make the pass to get to the lead. Good fights between Garcia and Marine here. This one coming down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Racing for 2nd and 3rd in the TCA class at the time, but it was broken off when a mechanical failure knocked Alex out of contention. Further back in the pack, Scott Thompson and Vin Anatra having a good battle here. Vin's first weekend of the season at TC America. Ultimately, he did come out on top in that duel. The wins, though, well, they go to Neto, they go to Gronke, and they go to Pericarpi here at Road America, wrapping up a wonderful weekend of touring car racing at this great circuit in Wisconsin.